Hi, beautiful beings. I am so grateful to be here with you for some plug in and power up. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful day it is. I don't know how you guys are feeling in your space time, wherever you are, but there is a lot of really big, beautiful energy that's swirling and moving. And it's giving us this incredible opportunity to rebirth, right? We just passed through the Easter weekend for those of you that celebrate Passover. This is such a powerful time, especially spring energy, such a powerful time to create, recreate, step into something brand new. This is what we did in our creation circle yesterday with our thrivers and our membership clients. We went into this deep, beautiful, high vibrational space of creating, but from a rebirthed space, creating from something new instead of just regurgitating the same old. Because I feel like this is the time that we're in right now, the time of revelation, the time of rebirthing, the time of creating something new instead of regurgitating or repeating the past and repeating the old. And I want to speak into that a little bit, especially in terms of when you have new intention, a goal, a creation, an idea, a manifestation in mind, you also have to tend to your mind when you're going for something really big, when you're creating something really beautiful, when you've got this very clear vision as to what you want for yourself in your life, you also have to really guard your mind. So I want to speak into that today. So for those of you that are just getting to know me, my name is Tara Antler, and I am an intuitive healer, soul coach, and spiritual mentor. And I've been doing what I call this non-work because it has never felt like work to me. For the last 24 years, I started my business back in 2002, started working with clients as soon as I finished university, and I started to study to become a holistic healthcare practitioner. So I studied aromatherapy, reflexology, shiatsu, herbology, all the energy healing modalities you can imagine. And right out of the gates, as soon as I got my Reiki 1 certification, I started seeing clients right out of the gates because I had a mission on my heart. Creator had literally said, get your first certificate, start seeing clients. You don't have time to wait 2 years. You have to start seeing clients now. And then you will layer, you will add, you will refine as you go, but you need to start seeing clients right away. And that was 24 years ago, which is just wild. I was thinking about this on my walk this morning, and the amount of visions, dreams, manifestations, goals that I have had from that time. So I can't even remember what my biological age would be, but 2002, like that was a long time ago. And there's been so many versions, iterations of creation. And one thing that I've seen over and over and over again, we have to tend to our mind when we have a big goal or we have a big dream. The reason why is because the world, for one, will come at us with all sorts of nonsense. It will tell us the sky is falling, the Chicken Little story, right? The sky is falling, the sky is falling. What are you doing? Do you not see what's happening out there? The sky is falling, right? So you have the world telling us all sorts of things that are usually in opposition to the direction that you feel in your heart to go. Now, I want to speak into that a little bit. I'm going to break each of these pieces down. So we're going to talk about the collective, we're going to talk about our own individual thoughts, and then we're going to talk about the shadow and the ego. So we're going to workshop a little bit together. The goal and intention for this conversation today is that you are able to still stay focused on your intentions and goals and have a little bit of tools, a little bit of something to be able to move yourself through when the mind is starting to reel itself and then it starts to sabotage. All right. So the world will say all sorts of things all the time. The world being the collective consciousness, what you see on media, what you see on social media, what you see in the news, what you see in TV shows. There's so much threading through. There's so much conditioning that's happening from all sorts of places. I worked at the Ministry of Health. Some of you know this. When I first finished university back in 2001, I needed a job because I was going back to school to become a holistic healthcare practitioner. And back then, the world said, why aren't you continuing on to become a physiotherapist? I thought that's what you wanted to do. The world said, what about massage therapy then? What about you had such great grades? You graduated with honors in health sciences. What about becoming a nurse or a doctor? What about a chiropractor? And I was like, yeah, okay, all of these things seem really good. But I knew in my heart that I didn't want to do all of those things. It made sense logically. And when I told people that I was going to holistic school, alternative and complementary medicine, most people looked at me like, what? I don't even know what that is. What? What are you doing? Now, if I said naturopath, some people knew, and I thought about it. But when I got that download from Creator and they said, you need to start seeing clients now. We need you to see clients now, not wait 4 more years to go back to school and get another 4-year degree to become a naturopathic doctor or a chiropractic doctor. You need to see clients now. And I said, okay, so I surrender. So the world was saying, are you crazy? You have great grades. I thought this was the path that you were going. You're going to become a what? A healer? You're going to work with energy? What? You're going to become a holistic healthcare practitioner? Like, what is that? Hi, Tara. You're going to become what? Most of the world was like, I don't even know what that is. And I could either listen to the world or tune back into myself and listen to Creator and receive the guidance and then go with what my flow was, go with what was being given to me at that time. And I'm so grateful. Thank God I listened to that higher voice that said, do this. And I did that. And I became a holistic healthcare practitioner. And then they said, get this first certificate, do that, and then start seeing clients. When I first started seeing clients, most people back then didn't even know what Reiki was. People still to this day, some don't even know what Reiki is. Most people I think now know. Back then, people didn't really know much about meditation or chakra balancing or even the holistic arts for that matter. I did it anyways. That takes courage. So one, you need to have courage when the rest of the world is telling you, the sky is falling. What is this? I don't even know what you're doing. When I started studying more on the energetic side, a lot of people were like, what is this thing? This is a cult. This is definitely a cult. You can't be this happy. You can't move energy like that. This is some witchery going on. I got that, the world said. And I was like, I know my truth. I feel so alive. I feel so aligned when I do this type of work. I feel so connected to Creator God, the infinite, the divine. I feel so powerful and beautiful and radiant. How can this be something crazy or whatever they said, right? And so I continued to do it. Then when I said, I'm going to start my own business. So I was working at the Ministry of Health, okay? To supplement, income-wise to supplement so that I could go back to school. Everybody at the Ministry of Health they said, oh, you'll see, you're going to become a lifer. You're going to become a lifer just like the rest of us. We all had big goals and dreams too, Tara. We came out of college and university. We all had big dreams and goals too. And well, now here we are. It's a great pension. You get paid well. You don't have to work too hard. All these things. You get great benefits. They said, you'll see, you'll become a lifer. I'm like, no, I will say, I give myself 5 years. I will be here for 5 years. And then I'm going to go. I set that intention. Courage. I had to have strength and courage internally to stay the course. So that's number 2. You have to have staying power to stay the course. If you have a dream, a vision, a goal, something in mind that you're creating, when the rest of the world, when they say, you have to be strong within yourself and you check back into source again, Creator God, the infinite, the divine, whatever you call that connection, and you listen. That's why having like really dialed in intuition is so important. Having connection to the divine is so important because when you tune back in, you get that clarity. And you're like, they say, but I say. And what I say is, I'm going to be here at the Ministry of Health for 5 years and that's it. And I started my business. So I was working and creating my business part-time while I worked at the Ministry of Health full-time. And during that time, people kept saying, Tara, what are you doing? You know how hard it is to create a business? Do you know how hard it is as an entrepreneur? Do you know how hard it is to be a business owner? You should just stay where you are. This is easy. This is comfort. You have consistency. You have a regular paycheck. And as tempting as that dangling carrot was, I said to myself, I was like, if I stay here, I will die. This will be living hell for me. And I knew when you know your purpose, when you know what you're here for, you will stand so courageously no matter what. When the rest of the world is like throwing rocks and stones and saying all sorts of things, you know your strength, you know your truth, and you will continue to move forward no matter what. When I said, I'm going to start my business, and people were like, in what? In holistic healing? In energy healing? Massage, I understand. Reflexology, I kind of get. But energy healing? Where are you going to get your clients? Where are they going to come from? How are you going to do this? How are you going to make money to sustain yourself? So they said, and I said, right? And I was like, I just know I'm going to do a trust walk. I'm going to do a faith walk. And I had to guard my mind the entire way through, because the entire way through, even to this day, now I don't get as much of that from the outside world anymore, because I've guarded my own mind enough to know what is for me and what's in alignment and what is not, and what's going to deter me, distract me, or disrupt the entire flow. So when they said, how are you going to make money? I was like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Now, I didn't have any traditional business training, and I figured it out. I did grow up in an entrepreneurial household. Thank God for that, because I feel like that prepared me a lot to be a business owner. I figured it out. This was before strategy. This was before marketing. This was before regular advertising. This was before, there was advertising and marketing all the way through, but you only really heard about that in terms of like the big brands, right? Nike, Reebok, all the things, right? I figured it out somehow. Now, fast forward to every moment. I can think of every single moment when I decided to leave the Ministry of Health. That 5-year mark came, and I said, I'm going. I've built up my business now that I can sustain. And they're like, you're crazy. You're going to let go. And I'm like, I'm not doing meaningful work here. I'm doing administration work. And all y'all aren't very happy. A lot of people writing the policies for the health, what was going out as marketing, they had no health background. They were policymakers. They were trained in marketing. So how do you take something and make a good story and then sell it? That's what they were doing. And I said, none of y'all are happy. Most of them were drinking all the time, a lot of drugs, not healthy. You walk into this space and everything was gray. Gray walls, gray building, gray rooms, gray furniture, gray, dull hum. I was like, if I stay here, this will be living hell. So I had to have courage, and I had to be strong, and I had to follow through. So that's the last piece, is you have to follow through. And then we'll talk about the mind. You have to follow through on whatever that dream is, whatever that intention is, whatever that goal is that you have, whatever manifestation you have, because creation is ever unfolding. You have energy, creation energy, manifestation energy, whatever you want to call it. You have the energy to create. And when you're doing that with Creator, it's even more fun. You get to be surprised and delighted. And most of the time, people are using their creation energy to pump a system, to pump the conditioning, to prime what they say. So let's fast forward to today. What's happening today? You can look out into the world, and the world will say, Chicken Little, the sky is falling. We're in a financial crisis. Things are falling. Well, I tune into these sorts of things all the time. 2020, they said a whole bunch of stuff, which now I think most people know is a bunch of BS. People know this now. Like, there are a lot of stuff. Humanity was lied to, right? There's a lot of harm that was done. Not good. A lot of harm that was done. So those that have the eyes and ears to see and hear, see it and hear it now. So they said a whole bunch of stuff, and a lot of people listened to it, unfortunately, some to their detriment. Again, we're in another round of something. They're saying, whatever they're saying, you have to be strong enough. This is where the guarding your mind comes in. You have to be so strong within yourself to say, okay, I see that as a potential reality, but whose reality? Whose reality is that? Is that my reality? Is that the one that I chose? Is that the one that I'm creating or co-creating with Creator God? No. This is what I did 2020. Is this my reality? No. So we created our own. We created our own bubble. And the rest of what the rest of the world was going through, we didn't even see it. We really didn't. Hi, Selena. Nice to see you. So people will say all the things all the time. You have to ask yourself, is this my reality? Is this what I truly want to create for myself? Especially when you have a big goal and a big dream. Gabriel and I have this really big, beautiful dream goal that's happening right now. Some of you know, some of you, we're going to announce some things in the next couple months. This morning on my walk, I could hear the collective. I could hear the collective saying, are you crazy? Do you know what's happening with the real estate world, do you know what's happening with the financial world? And I'm like, that is the same as what I was just sharing with you all the way back to 2002 until today. They said, what are you doing? You're starting a business in holistic healing? Are you crazy? They said, you're leaving the Ministry of Health? Are you crazy? They said, nobody's going to buy that. Are you crazy? When I decided to move up north, everybody said, are you crazy? When I decided to move to LA, are you crazy? You're leaving your business? You're leaving your practice? Are you crazy? What are you doing? They said, all sorts of people said all sorts of things. I had to ask myself in each of those moments, is this my reality or is that their fear projection? And this is something that we all need to do consistently because this is happening all the time. The world will say all sorts of things all the time. And it's up to you to come back to yourself, come back to source, come back to your intuitive knowing, and you choose. So they say you choose. They say you choose. They say you choose. And that they could be anything. It could be people that you love and know. It could be your community that you surround yourself with, your friends. It could be the business containers, if you're in business containers. That's what they say. It could be what the world is saying. It could be what you're seeing financially. It could be what you're seeing in the world around. Here's the thing. This is a little side note. Any system, especially right now, any system that's been built upon lies, falsehood, the detriment to humanity, everything basically opposite to Creator God, okay? Whatever you believe in, whatever you call it. When you have a system that's been created in opposition, meaning it's not for the people, it's not helpful, it's detrimental, and it's definitely not in the spirit of Creator God, infinite divine, that system will have to crumble and fall. It's like a lie, right? It will eventually, a lie always comes to truth. It always comes to the light. The shadow always is making its way to the light. That's how we grow. Your shadows, your fears, your insecurities always will come to the surface. It will come to the light because we're meant to heal and bring everything to the light and restore it once again. We're in a massive, if we look at what's actually happening as a collective on an ascension pathway, we are at a massive, massive, massive time in humanity's history of reclaiming the light again. That's what we're doing. We're returning and reclaiming the light. We went from a dark age to a light age. We're coming into the light age now. So what happens is, and I'll answer questions in a second. So yeah, definitely pop your questions in. What happens is when we're right at that precipice point, when you're at a dark night of the soul, it's like the thickest, the worst, you're crashed down to your knees. It's the hardest moment. But that's the moment that you got to have courage. You have to have strength inside. You have to have spiritual connection. You need a community that's going to have your back, because when the rest of the world is saying whatever, you need to be in another bubble that's saying something else, or else you will fall into the fold of what everybody else is saying. And then you have to follow it through. And this is where we're at right now as a collective, humanity. We're at this massive precipice point where we are literally moving into the light again, the light era, the light age. If you move into a light age, let's say you're becoming the next version of yourself, okay? So if this is too big to grasp as a collective, think about yourself. When you are moving through something dense, something painful, something fearful, your own shadow, your own stuff, when you're moving through it, it can feel hard. It's not so fun. It can feel gruesome. But when you moved through to the other side, don't you feel lighter and brighter? And everything just gets easier and more shiny. People are like, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. You look so radiant. You're like, whoa, I just passed through. I just rebirthed myself. You've become this lighter, brighter version of yourself. This is what's happening to the collective right now. So when you're transforming that way, do you carry with you all the pains? Or are you healing, transmuting the pains so that you're done with them and you move freely forward? Hopefully you're moving freely forward and you're not carrying all that junk with you. This is where we're at with humanity right now as a collective. We are collectively moving into a new era, a new version, this could be like, some people say there's a lot of ancient texts written about this. This could be a 12,000 year cycle. This could be a 24,000 year cycle. That's a long time. So as we move into the light, we cannot take the density with us. It's falling off like crazy. We can't take the shadow energies with us. That means we can't take the shadow systems with us too. And any system that's been created in the shadow to the detriment of humanity, in opposition to Creator God, the infinite, the divine source, whatever you want to call it, anything that's been created in that energy has to fall. So does it feel a little scary? Yeah. When you're going through your own transformation, it feels scary. Will something new arise? Yes. Yes. Humanity, we have such a tenacity and such a resilience. We're going to rise and we're going to get stronger. But it requires you having courage and faith. And then ground in, rise up, and keep moving yourself forward. If you fall into the fold of what everybody else is saying, you will inevitably create what everybody else is saying. And I think many of us now, we're like, I don't want to create the old system. The old system sucked. It created enslavement. I don't think any of us came here. I don't think any of us want to be enslaved. We've witnessed, if you have any sense of all that, I don't think we need more enslavement. I think we need freedom. We need to be free. So in order to be free, we have to let go of the shadow. That might mean self-healing some things. You might have some money stories that you need to clean up. You might have some inner healing, inner turmoil that needs to shift and clear, which again, this is always the work that we do in Thrive Evolution, by the way. So if you want to move through some of these things, you want to create consciously, you want to do some of this powerful work, this is always what we do in Thrive Evolution. And so if you're curious about that, let me know. You can send me a private message. But this is the work that we need to be doing right now. And we need to be focused on the light. So let's say if we're looking at a financial system, because I think there's a lot of buzz about this right now. There's a lot of conversation. People are seeing, people are feeling, we're getting ready to fly to Florida for a retreat. We have our retreat coming up in Florida this Saturday. It starts. We have a number of you that are tuning in virtually. So we're so excited about that. You're going to do your own in-home retreat. Well, we have our in-person retreat. If any of you are curious about that, by the way, just type the word retreat. We have a couple spaces. If anybody feels like a last minute, you want to get on a plane and come and join us in Florida, we're going to be in Siesta Keys from the 11th to the 17th. And if that's not doable and you want to join us virtually, we're going to have some really big, beautiful, powerful conversations around exactly this, like consciously creating, opening up your intuition, clearing out any of the density, creating a new reality, a new world that feels so beautiful and powerful and that you get to exist in. And then you get to carry through whatever your mission and dreams are. You get to carry that through in whatever you're creating. So we created an in-home, at-home retreat option for you. Just type retreat and I'll send you a message about all the details and what that's going to look like. So this is a powerful time, but let's look at the financial piece of it, right? So after Florida, we get ready to go back to Canada. Everybody keeps laughing. The people that we know down here that are coming, they're like, well, in Canada, all they keep talking about is how expensive groceries are, which is, I can get that. Like that's a real thing. However, there are other options. And I get that for some people, growing your own food, that may not be an option. But there are cohorts, there are people that are creating conscious communities where they're doing these community growing projects. Create one, find one, do something like that. Buy some chickens. If you can't do that, there are actual companies that exist where you can buy shares into their beef and chickens and all sorts of things. I know that a number of companies in the US that have this. Canada needs to do, some Canadians need to do this too. I know it takes a little bit of extra effort, but what happens is we try to hold on to the old stuff that's not serving. And by holding on, we create more pain for ourselves. It's the same thing on our personal healing journey. When you're at that precipice point where you're about ready to grow, you know it, you can feel it, but you're holding on to the past and you're holding on to old versions of yourself, you're going to create more pain for yourself. You're going to create way more discomfort than is necessary. So this is where opening your vision, opening your mind, opening up again to something new, this is your way through. Opening up to something new is your way through. But if you keep holding on to the old, you're going to feel the sinkingness of like the Titanic. The people on the Titanic, they're like, this ship isn't sinking. And there they are holding on to their jewels and down they go. Well, do you see what I'm saying? So we need to stop overlooking it. You can be aware of what's going on, but then create something new. If you keep looking at the old and freaking out about the old and freaking about the old that's falling. That system, I'm telling you right now, that financial system, you could do some research on this and find out for yourself. I have a video I can share with you guys if you're interested. A friend of ours, Sasha Stone, I interviewed him many years ago, about 2020, 21. We've gotten to know him here in Mexico. They have created, people are creating already an alternate financial system. And they don't even know what to call it. They don't even want to call it a system, a financial freedom. Let's say that. This is what happens when an old system falls. You have those that are like holding on and freaking out. So then they won't do anything. I don't want to manifest. I don't want to create. I don't even want to take risks because it's too risky. But then you have those that are courageous and those that are like, and that's not my reality. I'm creating something else over here. And so you're going to have new people rising up and creating new things for this next evolution, because the old system's falling. It's falling. That's very clear. Education system, healthcare system, money system, all the old systems, if you actually look and do some research as to where they got created from a very shadowy place. They were not for humanity. So now that we're moving into the light, anything that's not of the light has to fall. It has to crumble. Now that can feel fearful, but this is where you have to do diligence to heal thyself, heal oneself, heal from within, shift your energy, shift your focus, come up, focus on creation, stay consistent, be courageous, have your strength, follow it through. Surround yourself with people that are having these types of conversations. Get in the know about some of these other things that are going on so that you can make that leap. It's kind of like what I was sharing about when I left the Ministry of Health. That was scary for me. It was scary to leave what was familiar. That was just a 5-year familiarity. And I was scared. But I also knew that if I stayed, I'd die. I'd be living hell. And I wasn't about to do that to myself. I love myself too much to stand in living hell. Many people right now are choosing to stand in living hell because they're afraid. And I get that. But this is where then you got to, as they say, muster up. You got to like muster up some courage. You got to get your strength on and you got to forge forward. You got to move forward and you got to start doing something different. If you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, you know this now. I think everybody knows this now. That's the definition of insanity. But there's a lot of people trapped in the insanity loop. Let's break free from that now. Let's power up. So let's power up some new creations. Let's power up our courage. Let's power up our strength. Let's power up our willingness to do something different. Let's start to align ourselves with places, people, invest whatever you can into spaces and places that are actually doing something different and doing good in the world. Withdraw where you're putting your other energy. There's still some people that just love McDonald's. You guys got to go do some research. I won't say anything else. I'm not going to say anything else. I'll just support. But there's people that are still investing in things that are questionable. That's your buying power, investing in things that you're like, let's redirect. Let's redirect. Let's start to choose something different. Let's start to elevate up. Let's do something different. Let's create something new. Let's shift our focus. Let's come back to our power. Okay? And it takes courage. It takes strength. It takes connection, faith, whatever you want to call that. And it takes a willingness to do the thing. You've got to follow through. If you don't follow through, that's the last missing ingredient. And that's the piece that I think a lot of people miss. People miss out on that part because they're afraid. And I get it. Every point in my journey when I have made major leaps, major moments of growth, I've been scared. I go through fear, but I go through fear. I don't stay stuck in fear. We move. We keep moving. We keep growing. I can see what's happening in all the different areas and systems of life. I was a part of it. I saw the belly of the beast at the Ministry of Health. I was in it. Thank God I'm not anymore. But when you see certain things, and then you have to make decisions that are in alignment, right? Okay, so I create my own reality. Yes, you do, 100%. So how do you create for yourself when people in your life are closed off? You just keep creating. No matter what, you just keep creating. You have to have the strength and the courage to create no matter what, right? And I get, trying to stay present always when dealing with closed minds. So many people follow blindly. I agree with you. Some of you, I think many of you here that tune in to Plug It and Power Up and any of Gabriel and our work, you guys are leaders. This is why we created Light Leadership. You guys are leaders. These are the conversations that we have in Light Leadership because It takes something to lead by light. It takes a lot of courage. When you have the rest of the world saying, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, or, do this, but in your heart, it's like, no, that's not what I need to do. It takes courage to not follow the sheep off the cliff. It takes courage to walk a different path. It takes courage to continue to have a vision and a dream and manifestations and goals when everybody else, when they say, do you realize that there's all this stuff? Okay, fine. But I'm also going to realign and I'm going to choose this direction because I know when you get that divine clarity, in your heart and soul what you are meant to do. You are either going to walk it or you're going to like wobble, or you're going to second guess it, or then you fall back into the fold with everybody else. Don't do that. Let's not do that. Let's stay strong. Let's stay clear. Let's stay in alignment. Let's move forward. Let's create something new. But that starts with everyday choices, how you start to create for yourself when the rest of the world is saying whatever, or they're closed off, especially if it's people close to you in your life. That's where having community, I will say it straight up, Selena, that's where having conscious community where it's like your go-to space. It's the space you lean into. Especially if you are the light leader, you need to have a space that you lean into, that you are surrounded by other people in a collective, in a community that are in the same vibration as you, that are like, yes, go for it, girl. Like, we got you. We see you. You put in, especially in our Thrive chat, people put things in there all the time, especially as we're getting ready to go into this next season of creation and manifestation and really focusing on creating a new reality. That's what we're going to be doing in Thrive. So if you're interested in Thrive, just type Thrive and I'll send you the link. But in Thrive, like if in the Thrive community, if they say, this is what I'm creating, I know for a fact, everyone in that community is going to be like, they're going to love on them. They're going to pour light in. They're like, you got this, girl. Like, you got this. They're going to support one another because that's what we do. That's the culture of Thrive. We're not going to poo-poo upon each other. We're not going to go into comparisonitis. We're not going to shit on each other. We're not going to like bring each other down. We're going to be in a space of like, you got this. Let's rise up. Let's do this together. You got this. And it's this really beautiful energy. So even if your immediate world, let's say friends or family or maybe peers that you have around you in your immediate world, if they're in a different vibration, every time you come into a vibration like Thrive, for example, or light leadership, and you're in this higher energy force, you're in this container of light, your energy expands and it buffers all that other stuff. So then your field expands and you get bigger, brighter. And then all that other stuff, you're like, I see where they're at and I'm creating anyways. Yes, I'll send it to you, Selena, for sure. Be nice to have you back in there. You're going to create anyways. You're going to stay focused because you have an inner container, an inner world that is stronger than the noise. You have an inner container that is more powerful than the naysaying or the poo-pooing on other people's lives or the people that just aren't seeing it as yet and they're closed off. If you have people that are closed off, then you need to open up. And I'm not saying open up to them. You need to be in a space and a circle where you get to open up safely and then have your vibrations, your energy, your goals, your visions met and elevated up. That's how you start to create something different. But if we expect that if I go to tell, certain people, it's like when we get ready to go back to Canada, I'm going to create a reality because there's a feeling of a different energy. But I also know that there's a lot of people who are in the light and are creating amazing things. So I'm going to set an intention even now that we connect with those people, right? Because that's what it is. We need community. We've always needed community. We've needed people around us who are speaking not the same language, but a similar vibration where we can lean in and go, oh, this is so good. I feel like I'm at home. This is so good, right? And when you feel that, you expand. And then when you expand, you can hold it no matter what. That's how I felt when I worked at the Ministry of Health. It was like I would be in such an incredible bubble because I was with my holistic peers. We were studying together. We were learning. We were growing. We were doing energy work. We were doing all sorts of like magical, wonderful things that were so high vibrational, so light filled that it was the very energy that would carry me into 5 days straight of the Ministry of Health, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It would carry me through that week and I'd show up bright. And people were always like, wow, you're so incredible. You're so light. What are you doing? And it's because of the energy. And it allowed me to move through that dark time and space because I had my own internal light that was being sustained by the circles that I was in my private life, right? So it's very, very important right now, you guys. This is where you're going to see like a sifting and sorting kind of happening too, where like-hearted, it's not even like-minded anymore. It's like-hearted, like energy. They're starting to move together again, which is really powerful. We feel stronger when we are in spaces that are similar to us, like truly, and then that's where you become the leader in maybe your communities. That's where you can keep creating and in your lane. And even if there's closed minds, it's okay because you're clear. And some of the things that we're going to be doing coming up in Thrive in these next couple months is really tending to the thoughts and the mind and that energy that comes in. Like, how do we clear that, right? This is what we're going to be tending to. How do we stay focused and then allow our energy and our light and our creations to stay in alignment with what we really want? This is everything that we're doing in Thrive coming up, especially in the next 3 months. So if that resonates with you, type Thrive, let me know. I can send you guys the information. And to wrap today up, here's what I want to leave you with. Take a moment today. Yeah, no worries. Take a moment today. Love you too. Take a moment today and hear your own truth. Connect to source, connect to God, connect to the divine. Hear your own truth. Okay? Know it, feel it. This is, in fact, something I recommend that you do every day. Feel that. And then once you feel it, then go out into the world, do your thing, be in your day. But notice then when there's like this side swipe energy, because thoughts will do that. It's like and it kind of hits you. Negativity, other thoughts, it comes in, or you notice your mind and your thoughts all of a sudden are thinking not in the direction of where you want to go and the reality you want. Pay attention to that. Then what you can start to do is just say, no. This is what I do a lot. I'm like, no, that is not of my own thoughts. Those are not my highest thoughts. No. And then I realign. What is the thought that I want to have? And then I reconnect to source. And then there's a beautiful thought that's there. Give that a go as a practice. You'll see you'll get better and better at it the more you practice it. And let me know. Come back and let me know how that goes for you, how that feels for you. But you got to guard your mind, especially when you got big goals and dreams, and especially if they're different than the norm, different and than what everybody else is doing. Just know that there's a couple of key things that you need in place. You need to have a very strong community where you get to come together and you get to be surrounded in a space that is having these higher vibrational conversations. You need to have courage, internal, let it come from the divine. You need to have strength, let that come through you, and have that connection to source. Then tend to your thoughts, tend to your mind, because the ego thoughts are having their way sometimes. And it's more than ego. Sometimes it's a shadow. So stay clear. Right? You do that all the time. So good, right? Exactly. So good. Thank you so much for being here today, everyone. Super excited. I'm excited to see all of you. We're going to do a little info session about the retreat as well, probably later today with Gabriel. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to come and join us in Thrive, let me know. I'm so excited to welcome everybody who's going to be joining us. And for those of you that we're going to be seeing very soon, we're going to see you this Saturday online, and some of you we're going to see in person and give you a big, big hug. So looking forward to seeing you all. Have a beautiful day today. We'll see you soon. Bye. You're so welcome.